Part 79. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 786. This was Chaoran's main intention in dragging Yao Weiwei to the roof. The kindness of saving a life is too heavy. If you carry this burden on your back, you may not be able to pay it off in your lifetime. If this Yao Weiwei were a normal person, let alone Father Shen, she would still have to repay him, but she is a brain-dead person. If she doesn't do it right, not only Father Shen, but also everyone in the community will be implicated by her. According to the information brought back by Father Shen, the damage from the virus will be over in a few years. They must take good care of themselves and welcome a happy life. They must not fall into the hands of a psycho. Therefore, Chaoran quickly thought of a way to return that heavy kindness. Now I'm fine, I can relax for a while. I won't be afraid of being dragged down by her in the future, nor will I be afraid of making things difficult for Father Shen, let alone be kidnapped by her morals. If she wants to do something, Chaoran doesn't need to be too merciful. Next, I'll give you two options. Chaoran supported Yao Weiwei and said, if you still want to go out, that's fine. I can provide you with a car, but I won't give you any other help. If you provoke other forces or get caught, we won't risk it if I take risks to save you, you have to ask for blessings. We have to write this down in black and white. Our community is not responsible for any of your actions. You are solely responsible for your personal actions. In the future, your base will not be able to blame us for your suicide. This is the first way. Yao Weiwei was so angry that she was shaking all over. What a vicious woman. She brought food to help, but she crossed the river and burned the bridge. She wished she would die outside, right? Then she can swallow the food she brought. Ha! What a wishful thinking. What made her even more angry was that before she could speak, Tianhu interrupted again. This idiot was actually tricked by Shenrong into warning her superior. Ha, how ridiculous. Tianhu. Sister Wei, if you want to go out, you can only go by yourself. I refuse. I won't leave, I want to stay in the community, he said firmly. He was not afraid of death, but he didn't want to die in vain. He was also doing it for Yao Weiwei's own good, and he wanted to use this method to dispel her crazy thoughts. Yao Weiwei couldn't understand Tianhu's kindness, and her tears fell down. She had just seen a large group of people holding knives and guns and splitting open the back of the truck. In fact, she had already given up the idea of going out. At least for a while, she wouldn't want to go out until she couldn't ensure safety. She just felt sorry for Tianhu. He should be her comrade in advance and retreat, but after only a few days, he became someone else's lackey. Chaoran, the other way is to stay in the community with peace of mind. You can do whatever you want. As long as your behavior follows the rules of the community. Tianhu nodded again, I can do that too, right? Certainly. I have a heartfelt request. You say. Tianhu solemnly said, I have super strength, but I have not received professional training before, so my skills mostly rely on brute force. Because of this, he has good powers but can only base personnel are located on the lower level. I admire your fighting skills, whether it's taekwondo or martial arts, and I want to learn them. If it's convenient for you, can you help me tailor a tailor-made improvement plan? Of course, Chaoran smiled, we are all one family. This is what I should do. Thank you, Tianhu cupped his fists. Yao Weiwei scoffed coldly. Tianhu glanced at her, and then said to Shenrong, well, if it's convenient for you, can you help Sister Wei customize a complete set of physical improvement training? He had already had a problem with Yao Weiwei's soft-footed shrimp-like physique. With such a small body, he still wants to save the world? Still a soldier? So shameful. He doesn't want such a superior. It's okay. As long as Sister Wei nods, I will train her well. It will be effective after 1 week of keeping it, and it will be completely transformed in 3 months. Thank you so much. Sister Wei, and I will not let you down. I will help supervise Sister Wei. Yao Wei naturally exploded again. When will it be Tianhu's turn to make a decision for her? He was shameless, why would he take her with him? You have no place to speak here. Get out of here, Yao Wei shouted at Tianhu. Sister Wei, everything I do is for your own good. Calm down and think for yourself. After Tianhu and Taoran nodded and bowed, they turned around and strode away. Yao Wei was still cursing get out until Tianhu suddenly disappeared from sight. She was suddenly frightened. This. Now she was face to face with Shen Rong. If Shen Rong did something to her, wouldn't she call Tian Yingying? Yao Wei quickly stood up and was about to leave, but she was grabbed by Taoran. We haven't finished talking yet. Taoran moved his hand and she fell again. I want to go back to the base, Yao Wei said bitterly. Yes. As long as Tianhu is willing to give it to you. Yao Wei cried again. Tianhu would not agree. Could she go back by herself? Even if she could go back, this mission was not completed, which was not what she wanted. So there are 2 ways, which one do you want to choose? Taoran asked. Item, second she shrank. Okay. Then starting from tomorrow, you will also follow the training. While there are no injured people in the community, you can just practice physical fitness. As far as your superpower is concerned, physical training is actually the best. You can heal yourself if you are injured, which is very convenient. If your mother's heart is overflowing, and Uncle Wang's house in the community has a dog with bad eyesight, go and help treat it. Taoran deliberately teased the Holy Mother and found it interesting to see her blushing with anger. We are all living beings. To you, you must be willing to treat them as equals. Right. Yao Wei fled like flying. Taoran deliberately teased her and followed her downstairs. This frightened Yao Wei. Taoran didn't do anything, so she stumbled and twisted her foot. How about I carry you? Taoran's words sounded like magic to Yao Wei. Yao Wei jumped on one foot and begged Taoran not to go there. In this panic, she rolled downstairs. My legs and waist were all twisted. Severe pain all over. She was crying loudly and still begging Taoran not to approach her. Taoran was funny and angry, so he simply sat on the stairs and admired her. Okay, I won't get close to you. Yao Wei subconsciously felt that Taoran would hurt her again, so she lay upright on the stairs and underwent the second round of supernatural treatment. But her physical and mental strength were weak, and the 2 uses of her powers were too close together, and she couldn't continue her powers for a while. She worked hard to activate her powers again and again, until she became extremely weak. As a result, her injuries were not cured, and she was already as angry as a gossamer. Taoran then called someone and carried her away. Later, Taoran straightened her bones and massaged her bones with his own hands under the witness of Tianhu and others. Yao Wei fainted anyway, whether from fear or pain, she didn't know. But after she woke up, everyone in the entire community knew that Shen Rong saved her life. In one day, Shen Rong saved her twice. So now, Shen Rong is her savior. You should treat Shen Rong better in the future. Thanks to me, Tianhu warned her. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 787. Tianhu became a member of the community. Practicing martial arts, on duty, and looking for supplies, he lived a fulfilling life and lived a happy life. Yao Wei is just the opposite. She was so afraid of Taoran that she wished she could hide as far away as possible. She wanted to hide and not show up the next day, but she didn't expect that Shen Rong didn't come to see her, but Tianhu did. He said he was here to supervise her practice. She refused. but she was dragged away by Tianhu. In Yao Weiwei's view, Tianhu has been completely brainwashed by Shen Rong. He talks about nonsense, saying that if she really wants to save people, she should work hard to improve. Yao Weiwei's legs were already weak when she was dragged to the underground parking lot. She hates running, she hates sweating, and she hates Shen Rong even more. She had to sit there and be praised for her beauty in white clothes. How could she become the same person as Shen Rong? She was irritable. She quickly thought of a way to escape. That afternoon, she found Father Shen as a protective umbrella. After she cried and begged for all sorts of things, Father Shen had no choice but to say a few words to his daughter, telling her to leave her alone in the future. Tao Ran agreed. She could understand Father Shen's dilemma. As long as Yao Weiwei didn't act like a monster, she could let him go. Yao Weiwei finally calmed down, and every time she saw Tao Ran, she was like a mouse seeing a cat, running away from him. In the blink of an eye, more than a month has passed. Due to the continuous expansion of the territory of the gang in the east of the city, the zombies in the city have become denser. It is becoming increasingly difficult for people in the community to go out. In order to keep the East Gate Road open, they recently rebuilt the outer wall of the construction site and began to lure the zombies into the construction site. This construction site is quite large, and many buildings are half-built. There is no problem in confining tens of thousands of zombies there. Their plan is to lure thousands of zombies in every 3 days, and at the same time, set up some barriers in nearby neighborhoods to try to control the number of zombies in the city coming to this area. Therefore, everyone in the community is quite busy every day. With a lot of action, injuries are inevitable, and Yao Weiwei finally came in handy. But just when she was about to show off her skills, she discovered that besides her, there was a woman with healing powers in this community. She finally understood why the most rare superpower outside was not treated well here. What's even more disgusting is that the woman named Au is physically better than her, so she still goes out with the team every time. In this way, even if someone among the crowd is accidentally scratched by a zombie, as long as the wound is treated with supernatural powers within 5 minutes, he will be safe. Yao Weiwei didn't want to become a waste, so when Au's son fell ill, she volunteered to take her place on duty, and the captain agreed. She completed the treatment tasks very well. Since then, she has been able to attend work twice a week, and she has gained some status in the community. But this day, Tao Ran was stopped by Yao Weiwei again. Tao Ran couldn't help but cross his chest. Since the last time she secretly beat her up, she has been keeping her tail between her legs. This time she was suddenly so excited. It seemed like something was going on. Why are you keeping this little girl so well? What little girl? Why are you pretending to be stupid? It's Bai Moli who you locked up in the small garage in the basement of Building 3. The mention of Yao Weiwei's voice attracted many people's attention. This little girl doesn't even have any superpowers and is as skinny as a bean sprout. You're still locking her up and not feeding her. What crime did she commit that you want to do to her like this? It turned out that Bai Moli wanted to find a place to take a nap after having a full meal today, so she decided to go to the garage entrance of Building 3, which was usually deserted. As a result, before she fell asleep, she saw a woman coming out of the garage carrying a bowl. Eat secretly? She didn't think so. But in less than 2 minutes, the woman left with the empty bowl again. It wasn't like she was stealing, but she seemed to have given the steamed buns in the bowl to someone. But she remembered that Building 3 was vacant. Yao Weiwei went down to take a look, and then followed the sound and discovered Bai Moli, who was so thin that there was only a handful of bones left. Yao Weiwei was overcome with pity, and went up to check Bai Moli's abilities, and found that she had many old wounds on her body. The iron gate could not stop Yao Weiwei from treating Bai Moli. Later, Green Tea met Bai Lian, and the two fell in love at first sight. Bai Moli's series of accusations and arrangements against Shenrong succeeded in making Yao Weiwei's mother's heart filled with anger. At the same time, she developed a hatred of the same enemy. Yao Weiwei burst into tears and ran nose, saying that she would find a way to rescue her. As soon as Chao Ran heard this, he knew that Yao Weiwei's Madonna disease had struck again. None of your business. Aren't we family? Why is it none of my business? You can imprison those zombies, but that Bai Moli is a living, poor girl. You imprison others for no reason, it's just you who are wrong. I locked her up for a reason. You don't need to know these things. After the big fight in the bank, Chao Ran thought about what to do with Bai Moli. Kill it and it will naturally be clean. But she still didn't choose to take action. First, I felt that Shenrong's death was too painful, guilty, and self-blaming. As the culprit, Bai Moli died too cheaply. Second, Chao Ran only found Bai Xiong's body in the ruins of the bank. Bai Ying and Song Tao are most likely not dead yet. Keep the white jasmine, which can be used as bait for fishing or maybe as a hostage. Even if he couldn't control Song Tao, Bai Ying, his brother, would definitely have some scruples. So Chao Ran felt that it would be better to keep Bai Moli locked up. Yao Weiwei became reluctant. I've already asked about it. You're locking her up just to eat her supplies, right? It's hard to survive these days. We can't have a bottom line as human beings. Chao Ran chuckled, if I had no bottom line and got her supplies, why didn't I kill her? I advise you to mind your own business. I have my own reasons for keeping her locked up. Shenrong, the reason why our base helps you is because Uncle Shen is a convincing person. The reason why I stay and help you is also to help you survive better. Although I have faults, I am absolutely good. I don't want you to do such an immoral thing. Whether it was your detention, your robbery, or your current attitude, there is a big problem, and it all shows that there is something wrong with your character and outlook on life. I can never accept you and this community. Yao Weiwei couldn't stop talking. Chao Ran was too lazy to talk to her anymore. Looking at her, I saw that she was really angry, her eyes were red and her neck was thick, and she knew that she was on top. At this time, she probably wouldn't listen to anything she said. Chao Ran ignored her, and Yao Weiwei yelled at the crowd, "You are so happy to bully a girl? You have no sympathy at all? Have you never thought that if this is your sister or daughter, will it be painful? Such a beautiful girl, Shenrong has caused her to do that. Isn't this the behavior of an animal?" Seeing everyone's indifference, Yao Weiwei was even more disappointed. She stopped Tianhu, "Tianhu, did you hear what I said? You thought you found the stage, but do you know the true face of Shenrong who is with us? She is actually such a person, and you still want to join us? Her. We came to the wrong place. If you are still a soldier, stand behind me right now." Tianhu glanced at Chao Ran and said, "Sister Wei, please don't get excited yet. I think Shenrong must have a reason for doing this. You have become blinded by eating lard." Yao Weiwei continued to catch up with Chao Ran, "Shenrong, let me tell you, let Bai Moli go quickly. Otherwise, I will never let this matter go. No matter how you threaten me, even if you win over Tianhu, unless you kill me, otherwise I will expose you to the base. Do you hear me?" Chao Ran's fists were already clenched. "Thanks to Brother Long for the reward. Be careful. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 788. Chao Ran felt his head hurt. She strode forward. "Are you deaf? You should answer me." Yao Weiwei followed unknowingly and shouted, "Where are we going?" She suddenly realized that she had followed Shenrong into an underground garage that she never went to. Yao Weiwei's steps slowed down. She hated this place. But for the sake of justice, she still followed. Tao Ran suddenly turned around and looked deeply at Yao Weiwei. Do you think I just locked up Bai Moli? What do you mean? Who else have you imprisoned? Why are you so bad? Tao Ran smiled and stopped answering, just quickened his pace. Don't you want to fight against injustice? Then don't feel bad for just one person. Aren't you going to be the Holy Virgin? Then give you a bigger stage. Don't you think she, Shenrong, is a bad person? Then she will simply be bad to the end. If you don't listen to the explanation, you can only let your actions speak for you. Yao Weiwei kept talking about Bala Bala and followed Tao Ran all the way to the depths of the underground garage. Then, she stared at an unkempt man tied up with several layers of iron chains. The man has injuries on his body and problems with his legs. Oh my God, this is a real person. His injuries were already so severe, how could he still be treated like this? This is even more cruel than the treatment of Bai Jasmine. You really have no bottom line, Yao Weiwei jumped. Where is this person? What did he do wrong? Did you break his legs too? Tao Ran has ignored Xuefei for a long time. Xuefei's life and death is basically meaningless. The reason why he was spared and not killed was because Tao Ran simply felt that he could not let him die too easily. Detaining him is torture to him. Since Our Lady is showing kindness, she should do it to the extreme. She tied Xuefei behind the car again just like she did a few months ago. What are you doing? Yao Weiwei bared her teeth and claws. How could you do this? Let this poor man go. Her appearance made Xuefei look at her in surprise. Crazy, crazy, she ran to Xuefei to tell him not to be afraid, and to Tao Ran to tell her to stop. It only took a minute or two, but she was so busy that she was sweating all over. Tao Ran got in the car directly. Seeing this, Yao Weiwei quickly squeezed into the passenger seat to stop him. How could Tao Ran care about her? He stepped on the accelerator and the car flew out. She was so frightened that she screamed and did not dare to touch the steering wheel again. After making a sharp turn, Yao Weiwei bumped her forehead against the car door before she buckled her seat belt while cursing angrily. When they left the community gate, the car gradually stopped, and Yao Weiwei struggled mentally, thinking about whether to get out of the car. But when she turned around and saw the back of the tied man's head through the rear window, she felt that she couldn't leave this poor man behind. No, you can't get off the car. What if Shenrong, a terrible woman, kidnaps a man and hurts him a second time? Her mission was to save people. How could she let something like this happen under her nose? So she persisted and began to give warnings and threats. Tao Ran drove her crazy. As a result, Yao Weiwei's Tang monk-like thoughts quickly turned into howling. The car crashed directly onto the road. The zombies crashed all the way, leaving various disgusting marks on the front window of the car, and several severed limbs on the hood. The zombies felt the anger of the living people and surrounded them like chickens. There were roars of zombies everywhere, and Yao Weiwei almost went crazy holding her head. She kept screaming and didn't even dare to raise her head. Tao Ran just wanted to scare her on purpose. Who told her that she didn't know how high the sky was and how rare it was to live a comfortable life? If you do it again, your death will not be far away. Tao Ran turned a corner and the car cut across the car, knocking out several zombies and leaving several sticky blood marks on Yao Weiwei's car window. Yao Weiwei suddenly remembered that there was a man tied up behind the car. When she looked back, she cried even harder. That man is like that, and he is still trying to fight with just his hands. It's so pitiful. I'm begging you, don't be so cruel. Go back. I was wrong. I won't mention Bai Moli's matter. Don't harm that person. Cruel. Tao Ran looked back. Sorry, she can't feel it. As long as she thought of the scene where Shuefei drove the innocent old people and children out of the community and allowed the zombies to pounce on them, she wanted to throw Shuefei into the zombies countless times. Life is everyone's pursuit. He is not qualified to decide other people's fate. As a strong person, you should fight against injustice and injustice instead of further plundering the weak. He deserves it. Therefore, Taoran could not sympathize with him. On the contrary, she just wants Shuefei to experience the difficulty and suffering of surviving as a weak person again and again. Yao Weiwei, some people are not worthy of your holy mother. These people all deserve their sins. Of course she knew that Yao Weiwei wouldn't listen. She already knew what was going to happen next. At this moment, Yao Weiwei was feeling sad when she saw Shuefei's bleeding fist. She no longer begged Taoran to let the man go, but she only begged Taoran to torture the poor man less. Taoran just led Yao Weiwei crazy all the way. After returning to the community, she ignored Yao Weiwei. That night, she received news that Our Lady had entered the underground garage where Shuefei was in the dark. "Do you want to stop it?" the messenger asked. "Let's see what she wants to do first." Taoran smiled. Of course he knew what she was going to do, so why did he stop her? She should suffer a little. "Go and call my dad and Tianhu." 10 minutes later, when Father Shen and Tianhu came over, it was when Yao Weiwei took a food box to the little brother on duty in the garage, lowered his head and hit him with a stick behind him. She also had a syringe ready in her hand. She originally thought that if she couldn't knock him out with a stick, she would give him another injection of anesthesia stolen from the infirmary. But this guy is so weak, he fainted immediately. Yao Weiwei trotted to the depths of the garage and went straight to the bound Shuefei. Shuefei never dreamed that such a good thing would happen. After this stupid woman came, she circled around him several times, bursting into tears, and then said she wanted to save him. Real or fake? Shuefei didn't want to pay attention to her at first. It wasn't until she took out the food she had specially brought for him and used the healing energy source continuously that he was extremely surprised to have met such a fool. "Why save me? I just can't see people suffering." "Then can you let me go? I heal your wounds because this is my mission. You are probably not a good person when you are being held here. So I can't let you go. I'm a good person. The bad one is Shen Rong. She stole my supplies and my car, and killed 2 of my brothers." When Shuefei was tied up in the car during the day, he could tell that Yao Weiwei and Shen Rong couldn't deal with it. This woman didn't take Shen Rong seriously all the way, and she obviously hated Shen Rong. Therefore, he must do what he wants. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 789. Shuefei also made up a miserable story for himself. "I am a senior and a junior. I finally found some supplies in the city, but they were robbed. But my whole family is waiting for me to bring food back. When I was plotted against by Shen Rong, my grandfather suffered a stroke. My father only has one leg left, my brother is blind in one eye, and my son has been hungry for 2 days. What Shen Rong snatched was my family's life-saving supplies. After being robbed, my relatives had no choice but to die. I don't know how they are doing now. Please save me and let me go back and take care of them. If they are already dead, I have to go back and collect the bodies, right?" Shuefei thinks that his eloquence is poor, but even so, this woman believed him. She was even more excited and sad than him with tears and runny noses. "How long have you been arrested?" About half a year. The sun and moon were missing from the underground garage, and Shuefei himself was not sure. For so long, that Shen Rong is indeed more poisonous than a snake or a scorpion. Oh, isn't that the kind of person she is? Only the fools in this neighborhood will believe her. Thinking that she and this man were both victims of being bullied and persecuted by Shen Rong, Yao Weiwei could feel the same. Shuefei coaxed the fool at first sight and quickly continued to work hard. I promise that I will only take care of my family after I leave, and I will never come back for revenge. You are my savior, and I will never come back to cause trouble for you. I swear on my parents. I swear on my 3-year-old. My son swears, well, his parents have been dead for several years, and he has no son. Then, I believe you. After you go out, take good care of your family. You must learn from me in the future, do more good deeds, and help people in difficulty. Of course, I will. You are truly a living bodhisattva. Yao Weiwei loved hearing this. She glanced at the duty room and promised to find the key to let him leave. Thank you, you are really the kindest girl in the world. This is what Yao Weiwei likes to hear the most. Kind-hearted girls are the most beautiful. In my opinion, you are the most beautiful girl in the world. Yao Weiwei became even happier after hearing this. You helped me a lot. I thought I was going to die here. Thanks to you, my whole family will be grateful to you. Rescuing people in distress is what I have been working hard to do. You must work harder in the future. Yao Weiwei blushed and tried to use her powers to treat Shuefei's injuries. I'll help you find the key later, but I can't help you with the rest. Just ask for it. I won't get you involved. Even if I get caught, I won't drag you into the water. Yes, Yao Weiwei felt relieved. After a while, she finally healed Shuefei's broken foot, which had been broken for half a year. He had so many old injuries that one treatment for him was worth two. Yao Weiwei almost exhausted herself to treat him in various ways. While Yao Weiwei was breathing heavily, she made another request to Shuefei. There is a little girl named Bai Moli in the underground garage of Building 3. I want you to rescue her. She is closed by an iron door. Since you have powers, you can definitely open it. Yao Weiwei heard from Bai Moli that her family's influence in the bank in the city was no weaker than that in this community. The number of people may have exceeded this community. As long as she is rescued, her brothers will retaliate with all their strength. Yao Weiwei's eyes lit up at that time. The mission given to her by the base this time is to treat more people and help resettle more survivors. If she connects with the bank through Bai Moli, then the survivors of the bank will naturally remember her. That's a lot of credit. Well, military merit. After Bai Moli is rescued and her brothers take her away, she won't have to suffer in this poor neighborhood. When the time comes, she will personally take the Bai brothers to the base to sue this broken community. Then, no matter it is the arrogant and domineering Shenrong or the unpromising Tianhu, she will get her debt back. So this is one of the reasons why Yao Weiwei insists on helping Bai Moli. You have to agree to take away the white girl, so that I can help you unlock it. Shuefei nodded. Since you are imprisoned like me, I will naturally help. Very good. After you rescue Bai Moli, take her through the east gate. Only the road outside the east gate can go out. As for cars, I have asked about them. All cars parked on the roads in the community can be driven directly. Let's go. For everyone's convenience, the keys in each car are not removed and are filled with gas. You can use them as you like. After Yao Weiwei gave a lot of valid information, at Shuefei's urging, she went to the duty room and found a set of keys. Little did she know that around the corner, several eyes were looking at her. Father Shen and Tianhu, the two people who still had a little affection and fantasy for her, were extremely disappointed in her. What on earth is she doing? Tianhu almost rushed out several times, but was stopped by Tao Ran. The community can no longer tolerate her, Dad Shen said. Whatever you want to do with her, I won't interfere, Tianhu said. Tao Ran nodded. Yao Weiwei took the keys back and tried them one by one, and soon found 3 keys that matched the lock on Shuefei's body. It's so pitiful. I broke a man's leg and chained him 3 times. Is this something done by a human being? Yao Weiwei scolded Tao Ran again. Shuefei finally regained his freedom. He was so moved that he wanted to cry. It feels so good to finally have your feet on the ground. Of course, superpowers are also really magical. His leg muscles were originally atrophied, but after treatment with supernatural powers, they actually recovered. He clenched his fists loudly. These days, his power has been strengthening. This time, he must leave. Yao Weiwei originally wanted to take the first step, but was held back by Xuefei. I don't know which building is building 3, or where the east gate is. You have to point to me. Yao Weiwei had no choice but to leave with him. When he arrived at the duty room, Xuefei rushed in. What you do? You won't let me escape with nothing, right? Xuefei quickly found a gun on the man who was knocked unconscious by Yao Weiwei. No killing, Yao Weiwei warned him. Don't worry, I'm just defending myself. Xuefei pushed Yao Weiwei forward without saying a word, asking her to go see if there was anyone outside. If there is, try to lure him away quickly. Yao Weiwei felt that Xuefei was very lucky today. There was no one outside. Building number 3 is over there. She pointed to a building. But before she finished speaking, there was already an extra hand on her neck. When he looked again, it was Xuefei. His hand had already grasped her neck, and it seemed that with just a slight squeeze, her neck would be disconnected. What are you doing? I am your savior. Then save people until the end. Xuefei gritted his teeth, grabbed Yao Weiwei's neck and dragged her away. Obviously, he had no intention of going to building 3 to save people. No matter how stupid Yao Weiwei was, she realized that she had been completely deceived. She was then roughly thrown into the car. She struggled, but was kicked by Xuefei. When the severe pain came, Yao Weiwei found that her leg bone seemed to be broken. However, her powers are no longer usable today. Do you have any conscience? You are indeed rubbish, and Shenrong did not say anything wrong about you. You actually repaid kindness with hatred. Shut up. Her scolding was met with a heavy blow to the cheek and a pistol pressed to her temple. I'm going to take leave tomorrow, I don't feel comfortable. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 790. When there was no threat at the moment, and Xuefei's blow was merciless and knocked out 3 of his teeth, Yao Weiwei finally realized that she had sent a sheep into a tiger's mouth and became Xuefei's hostage. This suspicion was confirmed dozens of seconds later, when Xuefei started the car and drove out, only to be blocked by the car of the patrol team that was coming. Get out of the way and let me leave, otherwise I will kill her with one shot. Xuefei put the gun in his hand against Yao Weiwei's head, feeling proud. Xuefei knew that the actual leader of this community was Shenrong, so he was very surprised during the day. How dare this Yao Weiwei yell at Shenrong? And how could Shenrong tolerate Yao Weiwei, a slow-moving idiot like her? So after Yao Weiwei came to her door, he did a lot of research on her, and then he found out that she had a lot of background. I heard that Yao Weiwei has an official rank. If she dies in your community, you will be responsible. I think she is more valuable than me, right? Xuefei laughed ferociously. If you let me go, I will let her go. Otherwise, I will kill her in front of everyone. By then, it may not be easy for you to explain. Yao Weiwei was going crazy. Why is it that every person she meets is worse than the last? Why are these people more heartless than the other? Tao Ran showed up. Yao Weiwei has been helpful to you, I don't believe you will kill her. Then Tao Ran turned around and signaled everyone to prepare to capture Xuefei. Xuefei was anxious and could only use practical actions to show that he didn't care about Yao Weiwei's life or death. He punched out again, directly hitting the savior's face. Yao Weiwei couldn't use her powers, and she was beaten by powers one after another. The pain made her roll on her seat, and she didn't know whether her jaw was dislocated or suffered a comminuted fracture. She wanted to get out of the car, but Xuefei locked the door. Have you forgotten your guarantee and oath? Yao Weiwei spoke vaguely. You swore on your parents and children. Please let me go. Silly X. Oaths and guarantees are all used to deceive fools. As long as you can leave, a savior is nothing. I'm sorry. You brought it to your door yourself. Instead of begging me, why don't you beg Shenrong? Although Yao Weiwei was extremely reluctant, she half begged and half threatened to let Shenrong save her regardless of past suspicions. If she died, not only would the base not let them go, but neither would her family. My father has a high military rank in the provincial base, and my grandfather is an official in the capital. I am a child that the family focuses on nurturing, and I am our only granddaughter. If I die here, you will not end well. All of you, they won't survive until the end. Tao Ran snorted. She had already guessed that Yao Weiwei's identity would be correct. Being able to parachute into the military base is no longer ordinary. His words and deeds are like a saint, but he is greedy for merit and cares about reputation. It is already the end of the world. Although ordinary people will care about this. No matter how you look at her, she seems to be gilding herself to earn a future. Her family status is definitely not bad. So after recently gaining Tianhu's support, Tao Ran had already found out Yao Weiwei's identity from Tianhu. Because of her powerful family, Tao Ran stopped thinking of throwing her out several times. Tao Ran, Sister Wei, believe me, he won't kill you. Don't be afraid. If he kills you, he won't survive. So the most you can do is suffer some physical pain. Seeing that Shenrong and the others were still disapproving, Xuefei decided to give them some color. You're not going to get out of the way. You're responsible for the consequences. With a snap, he aimed directly at Yao Weiwei's arm and pressed the trigger. 2 seconds later, Xuefei felt that he was a clown. His shot was fired. After Yao Weiwei yelled like a pig, she fell unconscious. It's a pity that Yao Weiwei didn't fall down due to being shot, but just out of fear. The moment the bullet was fired, Xuefei knew he had made a mistake. There's something wrong with the bullet. Xuefei was depressed. He is an expert with guns. As soon as he got the gun, he knew that it was genuine and that the gun was loaded with bullets. He was very happy. He was so lucky today that he could get loaded weapons with just a quick grab. He thought God was helping him, but now it seems that it is a complete joke. Tao Ran, Xuefei, you have been on duty with us a few times. Have you forgotten that no one in our community has ever used a gun? So, how could he get the gun so easily? How could people in the community carry guns casually? And Yao Weiwei, how could she possibly deal with the person on duty who had already practiced martial arts? Xuefei was dumbfounded. That's why everything went so smoothly. He successfully got the key and opened the chain that bound him, left the garage smoothly, and got into the car next to the garage smoothly, so smoothly that he didn't even bump into anyone. It turns out that everything is under the control of others. A large group of people looked at him with their chests crossed, obviously watching a show. For a moment, he was so ashamed that he wanted to burrow into the ground. He was like a monkey, being tricked. Tao Ran smiled. She did have the intention of playing tricks on Xuefei. After suffering for too long, he suddenly had hope. Finally, he was only one step away from realizing his dream, but it was only one step away, a small step. He could already see the door he left, but the hope that lingered in his soul was still there. And suddenly shattered. Whoever has experienced that feeling knows it. Xuefei deserves it. As for Yao Weiwei, Tao Ran had already taught her a lesson by being a bad guy. But she doesn't have a long memory. Yao Weiwei's handling is very difficult. Because of the base, because of her family background, because of Father Shen and Tianhu, Tao Ran couldn't go too far, so she could only let the real villain take action and teach Yao Weiwei a lesson. She must also make Father Shen and the others stop showing any tolerance towards her. So Tao Ran deliberately took her to see Xuefei and made her feel that Xuefei was 100 times more miserable than Bai Moli. As the Virgin, how could she not rescue him? Taoran gave her a chance and helped her so that she could take the beating of life. It would be best for her to wake up right now. If not, it has nothing to do with the people in the community anyway, she did it herself. Of course, you are not afraid even if something happens, Xuefei will take the blame anyway. Since you want to scare her, a gun is essential. But Taoran naturally couldn't take any risk that might hurt his family. So Xuefei was given a gun, but not live ammunition. The guns were loaded with reloaded homemade ammunition. In short, fake. Although Taoran does not allow everyone in the community to use guns, they must be able to use guns. Taoran had picked up a lot of bullet casings in the city and tried to refill and compress them for practice. The bullets have little lethality, but the weight and feel are basically the same as real bullets. The gun snatched away by Xuefei looked like this. In desperation, Xuefei only knew that the gun in his hand was fine, but he didn't know that there was something wrong with the bullet. Therefore, after a shot was fired, the air solidified for an instant. Is this different from a toy gun? Whoever is weak is embarrassed. Xuefei was very tired. Rhinitis attacks, so uncomfortable. I just wrote a chapter from yesterday to today. My eyes are red, swollen, itchy, and my nose keeps sneezing. I am wearing glasses and a mask while typing. It is so painful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 791. After realizing Shenrong's calculation, Xuefei immediately realized that the hostage he had captured was nothing but a loser. Not only could the smiling woman opposite me not be threatened by him, she was probably even eager to use my own hands to get rid of this standless virgin. If he punched Yao Weiwei to death, Shenrong would probably die laughing, right? The feeling in Xuefei's heart is indescribable. He thought he was the protagonist with a chance to counterattack, but what he got was a tool man's script. Of course he couldn't kill Yao Weiwei, and he didn't intend to take advantage of Shenrong. But what else could he do? Without guns and hostages, he only has 2 fists. And what he faced was a bunch of opponents. He knew all these people. They were all guys he had been dragged into the ring to compete against. Those people all have superpowers, and he has no chance of winning. Absolutely not. He also knew they had crossbow weapons. There are a lot of zombies outside. How do you get out of trouble? For a moment, Xuefei almost wanted to raise his hands and surrender. Can he stop acting in this bad show? But his unwillingness and anger made him not want to just let it go. Why are you being played? If you play with him, you have to pay the price. Doesn't he want any salary? After thinking this, he turned the front of the car directly towards Shenrong and stepped on the accelerator to the bottom. He won't lose if he kills 1, but he will gain if he kills 2. The best thing is to hit Shenrong. Even if he misses and crashes a few cars, he will be happy. He wants to be the protagonist. However, the back molar that Xuefei was biting gradually began to grind. Shenrong, who was directly in front of him, didn't even try to hide. He still had an arrogant attitude with his arms crossed, as if waiting for him to bump into him. But Xuefei knew at the first second that he had made a mistake again. The car can't speed up. Not at all. Not even 50 yards. Although the fuel gauge shows almost full. He wanted to cry, he had made a fool of himself again. The other party wrote a script for him, how could he give him a good car? Immediately afterwards, Xuefei saw Shenrong running directly towards his car. Taoran also didn't expect when Xuefei started to be so afraid of him. Before she could take action, he braked suddenly, rolled out of the car, and raised his hands. I'm going back. Don't bother you to take action. Then Shuefei broke his own leg. Everyone was speechless. Shuefei was really afraid of Tao Ran. The moment Tao Ran rushed towards him, he was suddenly glad that this girl had forgotten him in the past 2 months. In the past few months, all kinds of painful memories came flooding back to him. Being trained, taught, and bullied day and night, he didn't want to do it again. He didn't want to fight her. It can't be beaten anyway. Why suffer double physical and mental humiliation again? She would not be gentle, so he chose to harm himself. The incident ended like this without any conflicts. The only one who was injured was Yao Weiwei, who was moved alone. Shuefei returned to his chains again, and Yao Weiwei, who was seriously injured, was out of luck. Au went on a mission yesterday afternoon, but her powers have not been restored yet, and she will have to wait at least several hours before she can use them. So Yao Weiwei can only rely on Fang Fang for treatment. Skin and flesh wounds can be healed, medicine can be used to promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis, fractures can be treated with supernatural powers later, but there is nothing that can be done about a dislocated face. In order to avoid suffering, it has to be reinstalled quickly. Especially, Shuefei's attack was a bit cruel. Yao Weiwei's dislocation was not an ordinary dislocation, but a plastic surgery. It was too tilted to one side and it's hard to describe. In short, the whole face was already a nightmare. Fang Fang had not yet found a job after graduating from nursing school. She did not have enough practice and did not do much research on orthopedics. Looking at Yao Weiwei, whose whole face was swollen, and who was rolling on the ground after taking painkillers, she could only try to reset her. It is not easy to set the bones if you are inexperienced and not strong enough. It requires exploration, practice, and time. As a result, bursts of howling like killing pigs were repeated again and again. Yao Weiwei passed by several times. Tao Ran didn't show up. She is quite experienced in dealing with general bone injuries. Yao Weiwei's thing is just a matter of using a little force. But she didn't want to take action. She wanted Our Lady to suffer more, and she didn't want to bring trouble on herself. It's very good. I can accumulate experience for Miss Fang Fang. Next time I encounter similar medical records, my brothers will suffer less. So Yao Weiwei suffered a lot. Fang Fang struggled for an hour and tried her best, but looking left and right, something still wasn't right. There are still deviations and misalignments. Yao Weiwei still only expressed one thing: it hurts. There is nothing I can do about the pain, just bear with it. With great difficulty, she waited until her powers were restored and quickly treated herself. However, superpowers can treat lesions, regenerate rotten flesh, and relieve pain, but they cannot make the wrong bones automatically return to their original positions. Yao Weiwei was in pain all night. When Tao Ran went to see her in broad daylight, her eye sockets were sunken, her whole body was exhausted, and she couldn't even speak. Including yesterday, I have saved your life 3 times. Tao Ran was serious. You know how to ask Shuefei to repay me for saving my life, but what about me? How did you repay me? Where did your behavior last night put us all? If there were bullets in the gun that Shuefei snatched, maybe one of our brothers died. Is this how you come to save the world? You claim to save lives and heal the wounded, but the consequences of what you did are counterproductive. Who are you worthy of? Yao Weiwei didn't speak, only whimpered. Tao Ran waited for her to apologize. But she didn't say it out loud. Tao Ran suddenly didn't want to set her bones anymore. Just let her face become crooked, so that she can remember this lesson forever. From that day on, Yao Weiwei lay in bed for half a month. She treats herself every day. Half a month later, she finally felt no pain, and her bones had probably grown back. My face, of course, has not recovered. Askew. She put on a mask. Tianhu and Father Shen ignored her for half a month, and everyone was very indifferent to her. She was sad. She went to Tianhu to explain. But Tianhu didn't listen. As far as what you did, it's good that I didn't lock you up. If you don't want to end up like Bai Moli, just be honest. Yao Weiwei slept for 3 full days after returning. After that, she stopped being arrogant and became very quiet and reserved. Most of the time, she would help Fang Fang do something in the infirmary. When Au had no time to use her powers, she would occasionally take action. More than a month has passed in the blink of an eye. Seeing it, it was the reporting time scheduled with the base. Tao Ran and the others planned to apply for 2,000 kilograms of grain from the base this time. To this end, they specially went to get a truck a few days ago and reinforced and modified it. That day, Tianhu was making preparations, and Yao Weiwei came over with her luggage. "What time do you leave the day after tomorrow?" Tianhu was stunned. "You don't have to go the day after tomorrow. Just have a good rest." "What? Sorry, you are not on the list to go to the base." Yao Weiwei's expression suddenly changed. "You're going back to base without me?" "Yes. I'm going back to base, it's only natural." "Yeah. But not this time." "Is it Shen Rong's idea?" "I think so. Thank you for the reward of Reset Thunder Fire. We of you baby Bixen MOMODA. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 792. Yao Weiwei found Tao Ran who was busy. "I want to go back to base. Next time." "Are you stopping me?" Tao Ran laughed. "How could it be? The truck can't fit in any more seats. The cab is full of 3 people. "Which 3 people?" "Tianhu will lead the way, my dad will report the current situation of the community, and I will protect their safety. The position is already full." "Are you going to?" "Yes. 3 months have passed, and the situation outside is now more serious than when you came. I can better ensure safety by going." "On the contrary, you can't help. So you can go next time." "Let me go back." "I'm going back to the base. I won't come here anymore. From now on, you don't have to worry about me anymore." Not good. Tao Ran refused to let her go. Keeping Yao Weiwei was the result of their discussion. "You set a flag on the first day you came here. You have to save lives and heal the wounded. Now that the task has not been completed, you just leave like this. It seems like I bullied you." "Shen Rong." Yao Weiwei suppressed her anger. "When you go to the base, do you want to take advantage of me?" Yao Weiwei found it hard not to think too much. "You want to bring your dad and Tianhu's lawsuit against me to bring me down so you can get rid of me, right?" Tao Ran shook his head. Since you are the Holy Mother, you must take a long-term view and open up your situation. In order to get rid of you, I will leave more than 200 people alone. You are thinking too much, she is not worth the price." Tao Ran wanted to go to the base to see for himself. Seeing is believing, that's more reassuring. Look at the people on base and taste their attitudes. If the other person is trustworthy, she will show her loyalty. If possible, she would also like to strive for more benefits for the community. In addition, nearly 1/3 of their city is now occupied by the hospital group. With such a large force, there's no way the base wouldn't know about it, right? I wonder what their attitude and thoughts are towards the people at Dongcheng Hospital? Do you want to directly recruit them, or do you want to remove them?" Tao Ran felt that this matter must be clarified. Because according to the current advancement speed of the hospital group, they may advance their power to the West City in less than a year. Then sooner or later the community will be discovered by the Dongcheng gang. Tao Ran has already seen the nature of people in Dongcheng. The other side is fierce and well equipped. When the time comes, they may not be able to escape the confrontation for supplies. And Tian Tian is very affectionate and bluntly said that she doesn't like Dongmian. She felt very bad there. Recently, this feeling has become stronger and stronger. Tao Ran saw Song Tao in the city a while ago. He was with the people from Dongcheng. His sensing ability was still strong, and he was able to roughly lock Tao Ran's position within 3 seconds. If Tao Ran's Jinggong had not advanced by leaps and bounds, and he almost immediately escaped from the back wall of the high-rise building, he would have been unable to escape this time. In this way, the Dongcheng forces, which are already hidden dangers, cannot turn a blind eye. So when he went to the base this time, if he could confirm that the higher UPS had no plans to appease the evil forces, Tao Ran wanted to persuade the base to take action to remove the hidden dangers in the East City. Since the base is commanded by the military, as long as they are willing, it shouldn't be a big problem to defeat the power of the hospital. Even if he can't, Tao Ran still hopes to get some weapons back for the community. Go there with a purpose, so there is no room for error. An unstable factor like Yao Weiwei must not be taken away. Not to mention that Yao Weiwei had been threatening her a lot these days, saying what would happen if she got back to the base, so even if there was no purpose, Tao Ran would definitely not let her go back for the time being. What if she fanned the flames and harmed the interests of everyone in the community? Tao Ran smiled, "Sister Wei, please stay and serve everyone well. Everyone will not forget you." Yao Weiwei's eyes turned red, "But you know that I am basically useless here. You already have AU, so why keep me? Let me go back, otherwise the people at the base will suspect that something happened to me. Then it must be bad luck." She was anxious to go back, not just to return to the base. But her face, she couldn't bear it anymore. She wants to transfer from the base to the provincial capital. She wants to find her father, and she wants plastic surgery. After her face is cured, she will come back to settle the score with Shenrong and Xuefei. By that time, if she brings someone back, she will definitely destroy this place that has left her with nightmares. There will be no suspicion at the base, Tao Ran was sure. I can tell them that it's not that I don't let you go back, it's that you don't want to go back. You understand the general situation, take the overall situation into consideration, and serve the public. You have a kind heart, you have the world in mind, and you wholeheartedly treat the sick and injured. You can't leave at all. Open. You asked me to convey to them that if Cydia becomes unstable, you will not return to the base. So, why should the base show more expressions? After the Yao parents find out, do they want to take action? At least they need support to ensure the safety of their only daughter, right? Since Yao Weiwei's identity was at issue, Tao Ran naturally had to cherish this identity. If used well, the military can step up its efforts to deal with the troubles in Dongcheng, which will be a big deal. Tao Ran helped Yao Weiwei smooth her hair. Your usual image is so tall. Not only will everyone believe in your good intentions, but they will also praise you. Don't worry, Tianhu and I will say more good things for you. You have such great ambitions, and you will definitely be able to add more in the future. Officials and nobles. Yao Weiwei yelled, "What's the difference between this and treating her as a hostage?" But her struggle was meaningless. She couldn't get on the car to the base. And Tao Ran's prediction was absolutely correct. 3 days later, shortly after arriving at the base successfully, they were received by the base negotiator. The other party quickly asked about Yao Weiwei, and Tao Ran praised her without changing her expression and exaggerated her ambition. After hearing this, Chief Tan agreed and immediately said that if there was anything they could do to help, just say so. The Chief Tan directly approved the rice grain support for them. Not only did he immediately issue a letter of approval for 2,000 kilograms of grain, but he also promised that every 3 months in the future, they would no longer need to transport grain, and the base would be responsible for transporting grain. Afterwards, Tao Ran made some insinuations and found out that the base was concerned about the forces in Cydia but had no other concrete plans. She was slightly relieved. She was vocal about the difficulties they now face and the need for weapons. Chief Tan said that when it comes to weapons, you must seek approval from your superiors. Superior. Taoran was already prepared. We captured someone from Dongcheng. This is the weapon he had on him. What Taoran handed over was the gun he had gotten from Shuefei before. This gun has an official title. Chief Tan frowned and took a closer look, then nodded. There was a serial number on the gun, which read police. There are bullets in the gun, and they are also matching. Any idea where they got the gun? I know. We captured a man from the east of the city. He said that the weapons were all stolen. He said that they had been armed and could achieve any goal. Chief Tan looked to Tianhu for confirmation. Tianhu nodded quickly. It dawned on him. No wonder Shen Rong, a good man, would leave people in the underground garage to torture him. It turns out that Shuefei is a prisoner of Chengdong Hospital. Tianhu, report to the officer. The people in the east of the city really have no bottom line. Not only did they use guns and weapons to kill innocent people indiscriminately, they almost killed Yao Weiwei and Chief Yao a few days ago. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 793. What? Sir Tan, please be serious. The group of people in the east part of Sidia have been armed. Then isn't the entire Sidia already under their control? They use government-branded firearms to kill innocent people indiscriminately. Where does this put the military? Did they almost harm Weiwei? This matter is even more important. Is Xiao Yao okay? Tao Ran, sir, don't worry. Although the bad guys are ruthless, they kidnapped Sister Wei first and shot her later, but Sister Wei is a lucky person and has the protection of supernatural powers, so she is fine. But Sister Wei said, even if the other party comes back again, she is ruthless, and she is not afraid, nor will she back down. As long as the armed forces in Chengdong Hospital are not eliminated, she will not retreat to the rear. Sister Wei has great ambitions, and we all admire her very much. It is precisely because the forces in the east of the city are too strong that we have injured people to treat every day, which is also one of the reasons why Sister Wei cannot come back. Tao Ran continued to exaggerate the power in the east of the city. Tianhu, who was standing next to her, knew that there was a lot in her words, but he didn't say much. Recently, he has been on missions with everyone in the community. Of course, he has witnessed many scenes where innocent people like Ao's family were killed and robbed. On this point, Shen Rong was not exaggerating. For the sake of the surviving people and for the sake of everyone in the community, this contradiction must be resolved sooner or later. It is easiest for the military to handle it. So on the way here, Tao Ran told him her intentions, and Tianhu promised not to hold back. Tao Ran, the forces in the east of the city are still growing, and they have already expanded into the city. The pressure on us is too great. Once we are targeted by them, with our large population and supplies, we will be a piece of fat to them. And based on their strength, dealing with us is like picking something out of a bag. We will not be rivals. So this is what Sister Wei means. While there is still time, we hope the base can help us. Actually, Tao Ran kept saying one thing after another, having already thought of his words. Actually what? Before coming here, Sister Wei told me repeatedly that they must not allow them to expand in Dongcheng. In fact, it was only after I came and saw the base with my own eyes that I fully understood what Sister Wei meant. I took a look at our base. Although there are many people, most of them are ordinary people. The number of combat-effective people is only 300 to 500, right? And most of them are people participating in patrols, so there are only 100 or so real soldiers, right? It's not just that many. The main thing is that they are all performing tasks everywhere. Yeah. But do you know the number of armed personnel in City A? Tao Ran expressed concern. How many? At least twice the number of base troops, Taoran said firmly, but the reality was not certain. 9 months have passed, and it is almost certain that the number of people in the hospital will increase, but she does not know how many people there are now. She tried catching small fish and shrimps to inquire about it, but the hierarchies within the group of people in the hospital were very fine. Everyone had their own superiors. When pressed, they almost couldn't answer any questions. It was this that made Taoran pay more attention to them. At this moment, because of this exaggerated number, Taoran heard the interviewing officers' breathing become slightly heavier. The members they absorbed were either armed or came with special powers or supplies, so they are super strong. All the families, organizations, and groups with some influence in Cydia should have been absorbed by them. If this continues, it will only be a matter of time before they completely take over Cydia. Our community has no power to fight. As for the base, not only is there no chance to deal with them, I'm afraid the base will also become their next target. Taoran deliberately paused for another 3 seconds. Even if the base has more and better weapons, can call on helpers from elsewhere, and has experienced soldiers, what if they carry out a sneak attack? What if they use their numerical advantage? What if they attack civilians? Can our base be an opponent? Will our helpers arrive in time? Can we ignore civilians like they do? Barabara. It took Taoran 10 minutes to successfully get Chief Tan to say that he would have a meeting with his superiors to discuss the hidden dangers in the east part of Cydia. Taoran and the other 3 were invited to the cafeteria for a meal. In other words, Yao Weiwei's previous marketing of Our Lady at the base was very successful. As soon as they sat down, they were surrounded by a group of people, asking about Yao Weiwei one by one. Taoran opened his mouth to praise, portraying everyone's image of the goddess as tall and beautiful. He first cultivated the goodwill of a group of people and eliminated the sense of distance. After everyone got acquainted with each other, she began to focus on the frenzied killings of the people in Dongcheng Hospital. For a while, the entire cafeteria was scolded. So you are in a dangerous situation now, right? Will you face retaliation? It's a pity that the base can no longer accommodate more people. Otherwise, you all will move here. Everyone was talking about it. Taoran accidentally revealed that Yao Weiwei also had an accident because of Dongcheng people a while ago. Under questioning by everyone, she vividly told the story of how the goddess was kidnapped by East City villains and almost died. At this moment, everyone's anger was ignited, and there was quite a bit of anger shared by both humans and gods. We must not allow them to continue to be so arrogant. This incident not only spread quickly, but also caused many people to clench their fists and want to do something. Sister, have you asked the leaders of the base to get rid of those people in Dongcheng? I mentioned it, but no reply. Don't worry, we'll help you. After all, Yao Weiwei saved many people here. Now she is being bullied first and has potential dangers behind her, and many people can't sit still. They took action one after another. Some mobilized connections to jointly request the base to take action, some went to their superiors, and some even went to report to Yao Weiwei's admirers. Before long, almost everyone in the base was discussing this matter. Yao Weiwei's suitor was quite capable and got the base's phone number and called Yao's family. I heard that the Yao family was very serious, and Yao's father even called the provincial capital. 2 hours later, Chief Tan found Taoran again. We can specially approve some weapons for you first. In the next few days, protect yourselves. As for the others, we still have to hold a meeting. Specifically, we will send someone to Dongcheng, your city, to investigate before making a decision. But the question should be not big. We will give you a reply within a week at most. When the plan is implemented, we still need your cooperation. So this trip was very rewarding. They obtained 2,000 kilograms of grain, 20 guns and 400 rounds of ammunition, various nutritional products, medicines, some vegetable seeds, and official signal flares. This signal flare is much stronger than the fireworks used by Shwefei to report his credit. Once it takes off, it is guaranteed to be visible within 50 kilometers around, and the smoke will not disperse for a long time. They were told that in case of emergency, they could set off the signal. If the base sees it, it will come to support as soon as possible. After all, although Yao Weiwei did not come on this trip, her contribution was considerable. The family is powerful, has a good reputation, and has been used quite successfully. The three of them went home in a good mood. However, before arriving at the community, Tao Ran sensed something was wrong. "Thank you Brother Long for the reward, please show your appreciation." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 794. Today is the fourth day since Tao Ran and the others left the community. On the way back, the base sent a car to escort them for a while, which saved them a lot of trouble, and the time was nearly an hour earlier than expected. Before noon, they had already passed the suburbs of City A. According to Tao Ran's original arrangement, when he returned, he asked everyone in the community to help pick him up and clear away the zombies on the road. Very strange. They had entered the south of the city, but no one was there to respond. It's impossible to forget, right? Not only that, there seemed to be at least twice as many zombies on the main road they were walking on today than 4 days ago. This is wrong. Very wrong. Zombies blocked the road and made it impossible to walk. The truck turned back several times. Tao Ran got out of the car and lured the zombies away many times before he reluctantly turned onto another road and headed west of the city. Soon, the road ahead was blocked again. Tao Ran stopped the car and climbed up to the tallest tree around with his binoculars. Seeing this, she felt a little anxious. The reason why there are so many zombies today has been found. Ahead, the motorcade in their community was surrounded by zombies for unknown reasons. Tao Ran quickly got down from the tree and directed their car to go around to a nearby road to meet them. And she took the treetop path and used Qinggong to cross to the main road from the air. "What's going on?" Tao Ran asked from the crown of a tall tree. Looking from her direction, 4 cars in the community were surrounded by zombies. But the zombies only surrounded the silver car that Yan Hui usually drove. It seemed that there was something inside that was strongly attracting them. Look through the telescope again. Tao Ran could see that Yan Hui was sweating, his face was pale, and the hair on his head was clumps. He was holding someone in his arms. Problem occurs. Shenrong, think of a way. Yan Hui opened the car window. "We have to go back quickly, and Yao Weiwei, we have to chase after her. Our Lady, once again profoundly demonstrated what if you don't do something, you won't die." In the past 2 months, Yao Weiwei has become a different person. She is taciturn and has indeed minimized her presence to the greatest extent. All her thoughts were waiting for her return to the base. However, she was disappointed. She was not allowed to leave. She suffers not only from her ugly appearance, but also from the fact that she has changed from a heroine to a female waste. No one here really likes her or treats her sincerely. Every day here is hard for her. She has been full of frustration since the first day. After the Shwefei incident, she stopped thinking about helping Bai Moli, and the idea of going to the hospital also faded away. Now she just wanted to leave this community, regain her beauty and reputation, and stand up again. Come back and demand justice. She was also worried that Shenrong would do something detrimental to her if she took Tianhu and Shen's father to the base. It must be, otherwise why wouldn't they take her? Could they be spreading bad rumors about her around the base? Do something sorry for her? Ruin her reputation? If so, How can she prove it if she is here? Will her reputation be ruined by them? Yao Weiwei became more and more anxious as she thought about it. Her only thought was that she had to get out of here. But when she is in the community, as long as she is active, there are always people watching her. She knows that many people don't trust her. She originally planned to escape while Shenrong was away for a few days, but she found that there was no chance. There were too many people in the community, and she couldn't just leave rashly. She had to find a way. The best way is to leave the community in an upright way. Yao Weiwei soon had her own plan. Although everyone doesn't take her to play with them and always looks for AU first every time they go on a mission, she can find a way to make them come to her on their own. Yao Weiwei has been very honest these days. During the day, I help out in the infirmary and use my powers to treat high blood pressure for the elderly. I sit downstairs in a daze, wiping away tears, feeling pitiful. The first 3 days passed like this. Everyone saw that she was wronged and comforted her a few words. In fact, as long as she doesn't do anything, everyone is still willing to accept her. But this morning, AU informed everyone before leaving for the mission that she could not leave for the time being. She said that her 2 children probably caught a cold from eating raw food yesterday and had diarrhea all night. So in the middle of the night, AU repeatedly used her powers to treat the twins' illnesses. After struggling for a long time, she couldn't keep up with her physical strength, and she couldn't use her powers temporarily when she went out to perform tasks. However, today's task is quite important. Everyone knows that Shenrong and the others came back from the base today, so they wanted to form a team to clear the main road from the south to the west of the city. There are too many zombies recently, and accidents are easy to happen. With a person with superpowers, safety is more guaranteed. AU couldn't go, so they had to call Yao Weiwei. In the past few months, Yao Weiwei has been on more than a dozen missions, and no one thought there was anything wrong with her. When Yan went back and knocked on Yao Weiwei's door, she was still sleepy and wearing pajamas, so no one had any doubts about her. Yao Weiwei got into the car smoothly. The convoy went south and came to the main road. As usual, Yao Weiwei and Fang Fang, who were in charge of medical care, were in the last car. Several vehicles started to get busy, attracting zombies to nearby paths and checking the vehicles and supplies on the roadside. An hour later, everyone was a little tired. Yan Hui, who was in charge of the operation, was just about to let everyone rest for a while when they heard Yao Weiwei's high-pitched scream, and a large number of zombies that had been led to the nearby road came back one after another. What's wrong? Before anyone could react, they suddenly saw the door of the last car open. Fang Fang was pushed out of the car and fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, the car suddenly made an engine sound. Yao Weiwei made a U-turn and drove away. Only then did everyone see that Fang Fang was covered in blood. "It's Yao Weiwei," Fang Fang said with difficulty. Fang Fang was originally in the back seat. A minute ago, she saw someone's hand being scratched. She quickly took medicine from the first aid kit and prepared to help bandage it. She never expected that a dagger was suddenly inserted into her side. "Body of..." Yao Weiwei whispered, "I'm sorry. After the last time, I have understood the principle that people will be punished if they don't do it for themselves." Then she rolled down the window and yelled. After attracting the zombies, she pushed Fang Fang out of the car. She quickly climbed into the driver's seat and drove away. Fang Fang was so worried that she just got out of the car. Her blood flowed all over her body, and the strong smell of blood made the surrounding zombies instantly excited, and they all flew towards her. When Yao Weiwei looked back with tears streaming down her face, the zombies had blocked her sight. Very good. There are zombies blocking the escape route, so they can't catch up with her. She cheered hard and fled quickly. She did something bad and was quite sad. In addition to Fang Fang, Au's child was also harmed by the laxatives she stole from the infirmary. She has never been so harmful to anyone. She could only comfort herself that she had saved many people, and occasionally harming or injuring some people was not a sin. At worst, she could just save a few more people in the future. And, she has also done a lot of good things in the community these days. What's the point? At best, the merits and demerits offset each other. She doesn't owe them anything. Once the psychological construction was completed, Yao Weiwei's sense of guilt disappeared. She is free. Now, she wants to go around the city. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 795. Yan Hui immediately took out his speed power and rushed to save Fang Fang. Finally, he took the lead and kicked out a zombie before it bit Fang Fang. At that moment, he was so angry. He saw that the dagger was inserted very deep. The blade was almost completely inserted into Fang Fang's body, leaving only the handle outside. Did Yao Weiwei need to be so cruel? If she wants living things to attract zombies, does she have to use people? Wouldn't she be like them and use a chicken to lure them? Worried about not enough chicken blood? Not enough to help? So poisonous. What's even more disgusting is that the first aid kit is still in the car that Yao Weiwei drove away. Fang Fang was bleeding so much, but they didn't have any hemostatic medicine on hand. Yao Weiwei, she doesn't care about Fang Fang's life or death at all. She has attracted so many zombies. I don't know how long it will take before they break out of the siege and return to the community. Fang Fang is already in danger. Can she survive until that time? What should I do after I go back? Fang Fang is the most knowledgeable person about medicine in the entire community. And Au's superpowers haven't recovered yet, isn't Fang Fang a dead end? Yan Hui was furious. What a holy mother! Hypocrisy, hypocrisy, selfishness. It is most abominable to stab one of your own people. And Fang Fang can be said to be the person who has the most contact with Yao Weiwei and takes the most care of her life out of all the people in the entire community. Haha, this woman who keeps saving lives and healing the wounded, is this how she treats the people around her? Thanks to everyone's tacit cooperation, a car came over immediately to provide cover and support. Yan Hui dragged Fang Fang in embarrassment, and finally managed to avoid the attacking zombies and get back to the car first. They were temporarily out of trouble, but they were not happy. However, their car was surrounded by more and more zombies. They can't leave. Seeing Fang Fang bleeding more and more, becoming weaker and gradually unconscious, Yan Hui was anxious but helpless. They can't get out. He couldn't save Fang Fang, and he couldn't complete the mission. So Tao Ran's appearance came just in time. Savior. There were too many zombies, and Tao Ran actually had no good solution. To lure away the surging zombie horde, she only thought of a stupid way. Tao Ran took the dagger he had with him and made a cut on his arm. The appetites of the excited zombies have now been whetted. They are only interested in blood, so she can only use blood to keep them. The blood beads fell from the sky, and sure enough, they immediately attracted the zombies below. Tao Ran waved his arm, and the zombies below roared and surrounded him. I'll lead them away. When there is a gap, you can leave quickly. Whether it's going back to the community or chasing Yao Weiwei, you make arrangements first. After Tao Ran explained, he jumped to another tree in the opposite direction. Superior. She hung the stupid thing below with her own blood. Shenrong is in good health, and it's not a big deal if he bleeds a little. But every second in Fang Fang's place is precious. Thinking like this, Tao Ran made another cut for himself. She ran 100 meters away, and the zombies followed her and ran 100 meters away. The zombies followed her up a path. The team finally got loose. Several cars cooperated with each other and finally opened the hole. Yan Hui's car rushed out quickly. At this time, Tao Ran had already climbed onto the roof of a house. After confirming that the convoy was divided into two groups, chasing people all the way and returning to the community, Chaoran went to the truck. 15 minutes later, both Yan Hui and Chaoran returned to the community. The news of receiving supplies and support from the base did not dilute everyone's worries. Everyone was worried about Fang Fang. After Chaoran heard the general idea, he was also very unhappy. To her, Yao Weiwei was far behind Fang Fang. Fang Fang must be rescued. The young lady named Gao who had endoscopic powers was assigned by Chaoran to follow Fang Fang for more than half a year, and she also learned a lot at Chaoran's request. She quickly prepared the sling bottle and successfully tied it on Fang Fang in one go. Chaoran was glad that he came back an hour early. What she learned in Yutong's ancient world came in handy again. Point the acupuncture points, draw the knife, all in one go. The young lady surnamed Gao immediately responded to the application of the hemostatic bandage, and the entire process took less than 3 minutes from start to finish. Chaoran gave Fang Fang some vital energy, and Au, sweating profusely, tried his best to summon superpowers, and finally stopped Fang Fang's bleeding and was temporarily out of danger. But bad news still came one after another. Their people did not catch Yao Weiwei. But Grandpa Fang observed the white SUV driven away by Yao Weiwei on the roof of the building. Grandpa Fang saw that Yao Weiwei's car was blocked by 3 other cars at an intersection in Nanjing. Qin Guang and the others immediately rushed to the rescue. Yao Weiwei is still useful to them and must be rescued. More importantly, she knows too much and must not fall into the hands of the Dongcheng gang. Chaoran quickly rushed over. But when they arrived, they only found Yao Weiwei's car. The supplies in the car had been looted, and Yao Weiwei's people were naturally not among them. She was taken away. Soon, Qin Guang and the others returned angrily. No one was caught. They saw the scene where Yao Weiwei was taken away. They tried their best to chase him, but the other party kept going east and rushed directly into Dongcheng. Qin Guang and the others did not dare to go any further, and were even more afraid of being discovered, so they could only circle back twice. People from Dongcheng were wandering around the city every day. I'm afraid Yao Weiwei's previous shouting somewhat alarmed the Dongcheng people nearby. Fang Fang was surrounded in the direction of Southwest City. Yao Weiwei ran in the opposite direction, heading to the southeast. By accident, I was blocked by the oncoming Dongcheng people. Something that brings harm to itself and harms others. Get ready. Chaoran sighed heavily. The community guard battle will most likely be in advance. Prepare for a meeting. Everyone except the patrol team must be present and the meeting will begin immediately. Let me ask, if a girl wandering around suddenly appears in the city, can a normal person not have a series of question marks in his head? In the current world, it is difficult for a group to survive, so what kind of existence is she, a little girl with no power to tie a chicken? The people in Dongcheng must be curious, they must take her away, and they must find out the whole story. Not to mention she still had supplies in the car. Moreover, everyone knows what kind of virtue Yao Weiwei is. The other party will definitely question her about her origins. Does she still expect her to keep it secret from everyone in the community? In order to save her life, for her own benefit, not to mention the various things in the community, I am afraid that even her own superpowers, things about the base, and her family's influence can shake her to the ground. In addition, she was already hostile to the whole community, so it was even more impossible for her to keep secret. Chaoran snorted. Last time, for Bimoli, she wanted to take refuge in the hospital. Now, she got her wish. As for the rich supplies in the community and the endless rice grains, they are definitely a must-win for the other side. They had long expected to face the people from Dongcheng Hospital, but they didn't expect it to be so soon. When will the other party take action? For example, if I were them, I would definitely do it as quickly as possible, so that we can catch us by surprise when we are not prepared. Therefore, Time now becomes precious all of a sudden.